What is education actually doing to us? We've all been told the same story over and over again ever since we were little kids. Go to a good school, get good grades, get into a good college, and you'll be set for life. Now that we're older, we pass that exact same advice right down to our own kids. But if you strip away the glossy marketing of modern schooling, does that promise actually hold up? To understand what education is really doing, we have to look past the classroom walls and step into the brutal feedback loops of evolutionary history. When you look at it through an evolutionary lens, you quickly realize that school isn't an intellectual elevator. It's a behavioral sorting machine. Part 1. The engineering of the compliance machine. For 99% of human history, we were hunter-gatherers. Because people moved constantly, no one could hoard wealth, power, or information. Knowledge, like how to track an animal or how to make a bow, was completely free and shared by all. Children possessed an innate, evolved drive to learn through free play, socialization, and active exploration. Then, agriculture changed everything. Roughly 5,000 years ago, humans settled down. We started to have more food than we could consume right away, and we built massive cities. This triggered a massive social shift, the birth of a ruling elite at the top and laboring masses at the bottom. To keep this new social hierarchy from collapsing, the ruling class invented writing to manage resources. Right after that, they invented the school, to train a select group of people to use it. The earliest recorded schools in ancient Sumeria and Egypt were absolutely not designed for enlightenment or self-actualization. Exclusive clubs for the sons of the wealthy elite, built entirely for bureaucratic management, religious indoctrination, and social control. Those students sat all day long, copying cuneiform signs onto clay tablets over and over again. Disobedience? That was met with public whippings by a school official literally designated as the man with the whip. The entire purpose was to force them to remember how to track taxes, laws, and grain stores so they could enforce those rules and keep society in order. Fast forward to the last 150 to 200 years. The Industrial Revolution led to massive factories and later on, corporations. Suddenly, society needed thousands of uniform, cooperative factory workers and office workers. Where do we get those workers? Modern public education was born. Children were taught to memorize science, societal rules, and languages, and, crucially, how to sit still in front of a desk for an extended period of time. This system engineered the modern classroom with a very specific architecture. First, the bells, which taught children to respond mechanically to shifts on a factory clock. Second, desks in rows, which taught children to look forward and ignore their peers, successfully suppressing the natural human instinct to socialize. And third, age grading, which grouped kids by age, like batches of products on an assembly line, rather than by mixed-age tribal structures or actual ability. The system used this training to group children into different layers within its own educational hierarchy. People at the top were rewarded with the opportunity to go to better schools, with the promise of entering better companies, making more money, and making a better living. When you look at it closely, this structural division makes perfect sense. Large-scale modern civilization is deeply unnatural for our ancestral brains, and by its very nature, it is highly volatile. To keep a society of millions of unrelated strangers from collapsing into absolute chaos, you need extreme predictability. You need a massive, systematic sorting machine to enforce long-term social stability. School is not an intellectual training ground. It is an equilibrium engine. It filters and organizes humanity into a tiered hierarchy, safely filing everyone into their designated slots to keep the gears of civilization turning smoothly.